Damas y caballeros, welcome back to Freeform Radio on the Freeform Network. I am one of your hosts. My name is Daniel. I am here with my other two co-hosts for today. First, we got Noel.
What's going on, everybody?
And next to him is Andy.
It's Andy, and I'm using my sexy, sick voice today, ladies.
Yeah, he's got that deep Barry White going on. But he's powering through this sickness with a bunch of, what do you drink, Andy? Cough syrup?
Diet Coke and generic cold medicine from the available at the clearance, or the cheapest one available at the dollar store.
With a splash of Jack Daniels.
Someone told me that tequila will make me feel better, but they don't know it'll cure me.
That probably is true. But jumping into our weeks for today, first off, Noel, you got some updates on the UFC Conor fight. I caught a little bit of it, so I am a little bit aware of it, and mostly because of the post-fight brawl. Fill us into what happened, and was there any other good fights other than the brawl at the end?
So yeah, the UFC had a pay-per-view this past weekend. Pretty good card. So far, there's a couple of fights that were scrapped, unfortunately, but most of them went through. The co-main event was Tony Ferguson versus Anthony Pettis, and Tony Ferguson, I'm not sure if you guys know, but he was supposed to be the one to fight Khabib Nurmagomedov. But a while back, there were issues between Khabib and making weight, and then later on after that there was issues with Tony and an injury. So twice this fight got canceled, and so they decided to go with Conor instead, and he came back off of a 2-year retirement. And I'm not sure if you guys are aware about Conor McGregor, but he fought Mayweather. That was his last fight he had, and it was in boxing. So he's been out of the MMA cage for quite some time. And he had a big task ahead of him, fighting Khabib Nurmagomedov, undefeated Russian fighter. So let's just say that the fight turned out exactly how a lot of people thought it was going to go. Khabib is undefeated for a reason. And so when Conor, who's a striker, goes up against Khabib, who's a wrestler, well, unless you're an amazing striker that can avoid any kind of takedown, then you're going to probably lose to the takedown. And that's what happened. Khabib took him down various times and just kept inflicting damage and tiring him out every round, taking more and more out of his gas tank until Conor eventually submitted to a choke. It was more like a neck crank, but it was still somewhat of a choke grapple. He had him mounted. He had his back, so he was pulling his arm around his neck, and then it cranked up towards his jaw. And I don't know if you guys are aware of this choke bit. The way it works is that you wrap your arm around and you grab your hand with the other hand that you have free, and you're going to pull your forearm down on his back or shoulder while your front arm is putting massive amount of pressure on either the neck or the jaw. Wherever you really get it, it's almost like a Steiner recliner kind of thing, and it's gonna either snap your jaw or it's gonna choke you out. And so Conor tapped before either of those things happened, and the fight ended in the 4th round. So Conor McGregor ended up losing very decisively, and unfortunately, up to this fight, Conor and Khabib, they were promoting it, obviously, and in that promotion, a lot of things were triggered, and Khabib's religion, his culture, his just way of life was brought up and disrespected, so much so that Khabib he lost his composure. Normally he's a very quiet, humble guy, and this fight in particular is the one that made him snap. And I don't know if you guys heard about the post-fight brawl, but Conor's team, he has a guy named Dillon Danis. Dillon Danis is a Bellator fighter. He's not even in the UFC, but he's a jiu-jitsu trainer for Conor. I believe he's his jiu-jitsu coach. And so Dillon Danis, when he saw that Conor lost, kept talking trash. You could see the clip where he's just talking trash to Khabib. kind of like instigating something. Khabib keeps talking back. Next thing you know, Khabib's flying over the cage, and he's flying into the audience, and he starts trading blows with Dylan Dennis, and shit just erupts from there. Now you got Conor's team fighting Khabib's team, and some of Khabib's members and friends jump into the cage and start hitting Conor. Conor's not even aware of what the fuck's going on. He just fought a long fight and is pretty worn out. Next thing you know, he's getting sucker punched. He did throw a couple punches back, but for the most part, man, they got him by surprise. And it was one of the craziest things to ever happen in the UFC. And from when I was watching over the weekend with my cousins, we were watching it here. It was my cousin's birthday, and so we had it here at my house, and we were just watching. From what I remember is that everybody said, like, what if this was an even crazier situation and somebody had a gun or a knife? You know, the security was, yes, it was elevated, and yes, they did have a lot of officers and security members there, but to have that happen, like, it puts a big blemish on the sport, on the UFC, because anything could have happened. And they're lucky they got away with it just being that. Nobody really got hurt. It was just a couple of punches thrown here and there. But what if it had been worse?
Yeah, for sure, man. I saw some highlights of it, and then I saw actually like a YouTube video of some guy breaking down why this happened. And like you said, he mentioned that, you know, his religion was being questioned, and that press, you know, pre-fight weigh-in stuff, and that little interview thing that they do. And I think that's just Conor's MO, and really that's what the UFC is kind of leaning towards. Like, hey, let's sell this, let's make it hot, let's make it like, you know, this is personal, and it's not just two guys fighting, you know, so we can sell tickets, and it's the day before the fight, so they're trying to get those last minute UFC, you know, sales. So this guy, this YouTube, I should have wrote it down, but he was mentioning that he believes part to blame is the UFC, and kind of pushing the fighters into doing more and more of these things where they kind of back and forth, you know, hey, you're not a good fighter, you don't have no honor, and then, you know, like you mentioned, this Khabib or whatever his name is, seems like a very honorable, or he's like really into that. And at first I thought he was Arab, but I guess he's Russian. And so he's
one of those like Muslims that live in Russia. He's from Dagestan.
Oh, okay, that makes sense then. Yeah, because when I first saw him, I saw that he looked kind of Arabish, you know, so I'm just like, oh, he must be Arab. But the YouTuber goes into detail about how his financer used to be this Russian guy who's in prison right now. And he was asking for his release, so some ties are to like Russian, you know, secret, you know, collusions and stuff like that. It was all weird, man. I was just like, damn, man, I didn't know it was all this serious. You know, I just thought it was you know, hot tempers caught at the end, but man, it looked very interesting for sure.
It's very scary because this guy has some serious connections. I don't know the full extent of his connections, but I know he does have like underground, like terrorist fucking mob type connections. And so when you start dealing with that, you know, you can tell why Conor McGregor didn't like sue the people that fought him or the people that jumped into the cage and hit him. He ended up not pressing charges. He's just letting it go. And you could tell like Conor knew that he fucked up. Conor knew that he pushed it too far. He even at one point, I believe in the end of the second round, I'm not exactly sure, don't quote me on that, but at one point he did definitely say to Khabib after the round was over, he's like, it's only business. It was only business. Like he wanted to emphasize like, hey man, I was just promoting the fight. Because that's how he does it. After every fight, he's usually respectful. He's usually like, okay, hey, that was a good fight. I'm sorry about everything. I was just promoting the fight, trying to make some money for us. And that's about it. But this time he definitely went too far, and yeah, so he got what I think he had coming to him.
Well, here are my points. My stream worked extremely good, Danny. You should have texted me. I would have given you the link. But overall, yeah, it's just you know, McGregor, man, he's noted to have some type of like mob ties too, or he he went to, didn't he like beat up some guy that's connected to the mob? And this is McGregor's not the first time where he's gone all out. McGregor's jumped into the ring after a fight. Didn't he like push a referee or something?
That was at another promotion. Yeah, he ended up. So his friend won in the cage, and he ended up going to celebrate with him. He was really excited. He was always there, and then the ref, he's like, "Hey, get off the cage. You know, you can't be here right now." And when he went to go, I think somebody pushed him. Yeah. Or either the ref or somebody else pushed him trying to get him off the cage. He almost fell. And if he did fall, he would have probably gotten hurt. So I think he got pissed off at that, and that's when he smacked the guy in the face. I think he slapped him or he smacked him.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he definitely put his hands on some official.
But going back to, so McGregor's no angel. We all know that. Since UFC's been taken over, whenever they sold out to the new corporate people, they've been putting their promotional tactics have been trying to make it more personal, and McGregor's he's great at that. It's like Bellator. When I watch, like I'm a real casual fan, but when I do get intrigued on some fights, like with the old timers, like who's fighting this weekend? Sonnen and Fedor, right? Is that this weekend?
I'd have to look that up. Yeah. To be honest, Bellator is really under the radar for me. Yeah. Let me look it up real fast, though.
But they make it real personal, and to me, what I saw was basically what I've been watching my whole life. It was wrestling. I think Vince McMahon booked this and promoted this because people were jumping into the ring, and McGregor talking all the crap that he does, and then Khabib's like, "Oh, I'm just a humble man, you know. I don't know," and like he lost his shit, he snapped. And it's to me it's like wrestling 2.0, but you know this is real. And then Dana's like, I'm disgusted by this. Like, dude, this is not the first time this has not happened in your ring. Like shit like this happens all the time.
Yeah, and also the YouTuber also pointed out how McGregor was cheating during the fight. How he kept putting his toes into the cage, and I guess that's against the rules. And then there was a couple times that he was grabbing his trunks to hold him off so that he wouldn't, straddle him even higher or get a higher position instead of just being down by his legs. So there was a few times, and even some elbows. I guess you're not supposed to knee him or elbow him when he's in a certain position, and he was just throwing blows. So I don't know. I don't know if it was frustration on Conor, and then this guy was getting a one-up on him, that maybe his corner felt the need to kind of defend Conor since he was getting one-upped and getting, kind of handed to him.
Yeah, I mean, the UFC, like, it's had a lot of things happen throughout the years. I think this one, it just kind of blew out of proportion. They weren't ready to handle the gravity of the situation, all the fans that were going to be there. Conor has an amazing following, and a lot of fans came over to see this fight. So I don't think they were expecting just exactly what happened, like the amount of people that were going to be hating Khabib. Because after the fight, after the brawl, let's say, Khabib wanted the belt on him. He earned the belt. He won it. But Dana told him, he's like, hey, I can't put the belt on you. If I do that, everybody's going to start throwing shit in here. It's going to be fucking chaos. And then Khabib's like, totally chill, totally cool. He's like, that's fine. I prepared for this. I'm ready for that. Let's do this. And Dana's like, no, man. He's like, fuck that. No, we're not doing that. He's just like, and then thankfully, Daniel Cormier, the heavyweight and light heavyweight champion, he was there, and Luke Rockhold, he was also there. They all train together out of American Kickboxing Academy, the AKA. And so Daniel Cormier and Luke Rockhold were like trying to calm him down and be like, hey man, this is the situation, this is what you did, this is what the repercussions are probably going to be. Right now, you're not going to get the belt on you. You are the champion, you won the fight, but you're just not going to get it on you right now. So let's just get out of here. Cut your losses right now because you're definitely pissed off a lot of people.
Would I watch stream the rematch? I absolutely would. But because that's going to come. So, and I bet you they're going to use stuff from this incident. They're going to use it in the promotional, like, little story that they always do to hype up the next fight.
Honestly,
for sure. I was just gonna say they also used the promotion, that shit that he threw onto the bus, and that
The
part
tally.
of it,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah. He definitely, there's a lot of drama. Definitely you could sell that drama. The problem is Conor lost in such a overwhelming fashion that
Yes.
to hype up another rematch, it's highly unlikely in my mind as a fan. But in terms of money, yeah, it makes sense. In terms of money, because they're gonna make a lot of money on it. But in terms of a fan who likes the sport of MMA, there's absolutely no reason why Conor should get a rematch, especially when you consider the fact that Stipe Miocic, who lost to Daniel Cormier, is not getting a rematch after being a what is it called, after being champion for like a consecutive amount of defenses. He didn't get an immediate rematch. He's not going to. Jose Aldo was champion for a long time before McGregor beat him. He did not get an immediate rematch. So all these other people that didn't get immediate rematches and Conor does, it really puts an even more, like it taints the sport even more than it already has been with just the spectacle that, they've had it be the past couple of years. But anyway, going back to the Bellator thing you were saying, I actually did look it up just now. They're having an event this weekend, October 12 and 13, two events. One is Mitrione versus Bader, which is for the heavyweight Grand Prix. The other is Fedor versus Sonnen, also heavyweight Grand Prix.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I just know the names. I don't know, but I know Sonnen and Fedor. So I'm like, like I might try to check it out if I got a minute,
Nah, for sure, man. Yeah, I mean, it's good that you're like getting a little bit into MMA. I mean, I know you're more into like football, so I mean, it's good that you're giving it a chance. But definitely, I know this football season's got your attention, right?
Oh yeah, man. That's why I had some of the guys drive over here to where I live to watch the Bears beat up on the Bucks a couple weekends ago, and have the usual uh, watch the game and see the Bear Trubisky put up 6 touchdowns, and bullshit with the people, bullshit with my friends that came over, my boys, and and check that out. We had it was a good turnout. We had Danny came out, my friend Dave, Sergio, and my subordinate or my coworker Eddie. But other than that, yeah, it was a good turnout. Danny came a little late, being I don't know if he's trying to be fashionable late. I don't even know if that's a thing anymore. He missed the first big bomb, and he couldn't believe it when I texted him. You guys are missing the fireworks here, man.
Damn. Yeah, no, Trubisky, I heard, is like actually like impressing a lot of people compared to what initially they thought he was gonna be.
No, yeah, it was he that was his breakout game, and like I said, they put up a lot of touchdowns. We were kind of shocked. We were texting my buddy that was supposed to come, but he got tricked into going into Disney on Ice with his daughters.
Oh,
So we had to keep texting him to see. He's like keep me up to date on the score, and he thought, I think we were fucking with him because they kept scoring touchdowns.
yeah, it was a crazy game, that's for sure.
Yeah, man, it was good to see Trubisky, come out of his shell a little bit. Granted, he was playing, not the greatest of defense, but to score 4 touchdowns, that's definitely an achievement for sure.
And then I had two type of cheese dips. Apparently, one was more popular than the other. I had this buffalo chicken dip. That was the winner, and then I had this Velveeta cheese hamburger thing. But people were shitting on it; they didn't want to eat it, so I had to fucking throw that thing away, man. It was like half a gallon of cheese.
Oh, damn. You didn't like it either?
I thought it was all right. I don't know. Danny kept going for the buffalo chicken dip.
Yeah, at the end, I started mixing both of them in there. I started pouring the cheese, not so much the hamburger part of it, but the cheese onto some nachos, and then dump some of that buffalo chicken on the top. And man, it was sweet for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
be careful. Careful that double dip, man.
that's why Danny didn't know the rules. And I had ginger ale, but nobody asked for it. Oh no,
I
I'm
thought
sorry.
Dave at the end, yeah,
Someone did
yeah.
ask for it, so I'm not some rude fucking hosts, man. For all you people out there, know your etiquette and your society norms.
Ginger ale, isn't that just like seltzer water with a little bit of like flavoring?
I don't know, but I know old people drink it. That's why the oldest person that was there asked for it.
Yeah, typically I drink ginger ale, but man, I had so many carbs in me from the nachos, and then I had a couple beers, so I was just like, I gotta keep my carbs low. Otherwise, usually I do care for a ginger ale as my refreshment.
Yeah, that was another thing. I had two type of beers, and the overall popular one was the old style, Danny.
You know, I kind of tolerated it a little bit more than I did than before. Well, you know, I was drinking the Miller Lights that you had purchased for me, so that's the beer that I was drinking. But the little bit of old style that I did taste, it wasn't as bad as I recalled. I think my memory of it was a lot worse than the actual taste of it, because it wasn't that bad.
I think you were just being negative, man.
At least it's not Ice House, man.
Oh no, man. We're somewhat sophisticated now, so. But overall, yeah, I mean, it was a good turnout by the guys. Now that I live out here, I'm glad everybody showed up, and the food was good. The Bears won, and you know, it's good to see everybody around football season, because I was kind of nervous, and I was just hoping the Bears would win, and then we had decent food. But otherwise, it was just the usual. Everybody's just bullshitting, talking about their lives, but which I can't record there, And the only thing I regret, I was thinking afterwards, I debated I should have brought out my laptop and put on the Red Zone channel. Should have streamed that just to keep us up to date on some of the scoring that was going on around the league.
Yeah, I was surprised how Sergio's into the confidence pool, and he's actually playing that. So when you play confidence pools, it really keeps you engaged with all the other games that are going on in the NFL for sure.
Yeah, I was also shocked. No one really had squares, and I was not able to get squares for that game that week. Nobody at the company was running one.
Yeah, no, man, it was a good time. Everybody getting together. The food was good, and the game was actually a real good one to watch all together.
But overall, yeah, it was a good experience. I'm glad everybody came out. Nothing. We just watched the Bears. The other thing, what I'm up to is it was Columbus Day this past weekend, so you know how everybody shits on Columbus now. I decided to go somewhere with my wife. We had a free night stay at a casino up in Michigan. And I don't know, I kind of think about it now, I kind of feel weird. It was an Indian casino on Columbus Day. So I don't know if you see the irony in that.
Yeah, did you get any offering of turkey? And
Nah, man, that's why I think I'm sick. I think they traded me. I gave them money, and then they gave me this freaking cold or flu that I got going on right now. So I'm gonna have to go up there and start some shit with them or something.
damn. So what was the name of the casino, and did you just stay up there one night?
Yeah, it was for one night. So we get offers from them to go a lot. We had the free hotel night stay. And I looked it up how much it would be to stay there for one night. It was $400.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a 4-star or 4-diamond hotel. It's at Four Winds in Buffalo City, Michigan. And it was overall. I've been there before. It's a really nice casino. They gave my wife the free hotel night stay. They gave her a free buffet. They gave her like $60 to gamble, and they gave us a dining credit, like $10 or something like that. And they have a heated pool. We didn't know about that because with the Monday morning, it was like freaking in the 80s up there. It was like 85, and like I would have known that the pool was heated. I think I would have jumped in there.
So is that outdoor or indoor?
It's an outdoor pool, but the guy was pushing because when we got there, it was like in the low 70s, and then he goes, we have a heated pool. Are you gonna be joining us there? And I'm just like, no. He goes, but it's heated, and tomorrow's gonna be beautiful, and we're gonna have it open. And I'm just like, nah, man, that's cool. But if I would have known it was heated, I think I would have brought up some of my swimming trunks or some shit.
Yeah, definitely take advantage of all the little activities they got, man.
Yeah, like I said, overall, it's probably one of the better casinos that's 2 hours away. Because, I like my gambling. I've been to another one up there, and I thought that one was pretty good. This one, well, they offer you a lot of stuff when you sign up to their bullshit cards and stuff, the rewards card. And needless to say, I did win some money that night, so I had a good run that night. It was a worthwhile trip. Just the drive back and the driving out there is the only part that sucks, but it's tolerable. It's within my tolerance of many road trips.
What is it, like a 3-hour excursion?
It's 2 hours.
Oh, that's not.
Yeah, it's about a 2-hour drive, and it's not that bad. You get to see beautiful Gary, Indiana. You get into the southern tip of Michigan. And Michigan's really cool, man. The area is very seasonal, touristy. So they got a lake. They got these seasonal shops. Michigan is a beautiful winery. A lot of wineries up there, and we've done a couple of the wine tours, and I'm shocked how much wine they make up there. It's kind of surprising, but it's a good thing if you guys love wine, to check it out.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about the wine that they do there, and they have a lot of tours, like you mentioned. So it's definitely something to go check out when you're in Michigan.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. It's like I said, it's highly. I recommend it, and it's very affordable. They have a couple high-end things you could do there, but overall, it's not that bad.
Oh, cool, man. So, what made you decide to go up there Columbus Day? Is it that your wife had the day off, or what?
So yeah, she's a teacher, and she gets all those bankers and government job days off, like Columbus Day. And she's like, oh, we should do something. I asked work. They said it was cool, and then we wanted to take a little trip, and we had those coupons, and they gave us money and a free dinner. I'm like, fuck it, let's just go up there,
Oh yeah.
How was the food, the buffet?
I didn't do the buffet. We went to their this little restaurant they had, and it wasn't that she had she had a BLT. It was actually, they had a lot of really thick bacon in it, and I had a Philly cheesesteak, and I would recommend it. The guy was pushing the pizza, but I saw some of the pizzas that are on the table, man, this ain't shit, this sucks.
Is Michigan even known for any kind of foods?
Not really, man. I mean, I just know, I think they're known for that really thick pan pizza,
Okay.
That's about the only thing I could think of. Otherwise, I don't know what they're known for besides, Motown and cars and Indian casinos.
No, cool.
Yeah, I mean, the only time I've been to Michigan was that one time we hit that beach with you guys. We followed along with you guys and went to that beach. But yeah, I noticed that there was
dunes.
Yeah. And that was a good time too, man. The dunes was really nice there as well.
Yeah, the dunes is another nice part. It's really big. The only thing I didn't like about it, it's not as I don't want to say well kept, but I feel like it's a public park. You can just go up there and show up, but it's not. I don't feel like they have the amenities that the Indiana ones does.
Yeah, I mean the open bathrooms, they didn't look to be the best, well kept, latest technology kind of stuff. It looked to be kind of rundown stuff from the 1970s. which is okay. I mean, it gets the job done, but for sure, when you're used to seeing more modernized amenities, like you said, it's kind of tough to go to something like that.
Well, exactly. It's because you don't pay to get in there like you do in the Indiana one. The only thing is they have those park rangers on four-wheelers, and I think it's easier to drink beer there than in Indiana, instead of Indiana, the dunes in Indiana. I feel like they're a little bit more watchful there.
You have to like sneak it in like a Pepsi can or something, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what you have to do. And I gotta, you always gotta bring extra beer and bring that old style because it's easier for you to drink at the Michigan one than instead of the Indiana. The Indiana, there's a lot of lifeguards. In Michigan, it's like a free for all, and I feel like if you get caught, they're not gonna throw you out. Indiana, I think they're gonna throw you out.
Throw you out of the state?
Yeah.
You're like a fucking police escort to the border.
Because they always ask you, oh, where are you from? And like they look at your truck pull up, and it's like I have Illinois plates. I'm from Indiana. It's some secret fucking club they're trying to keep, but
They're like, do you know the handshake?
It's like I said, it's some secret club, and you're trying to, switch over. But Danny's a member of a lot of clubs, and he switched from one big warehouse club to another, and I think one of the clubs are going to come after you, or maybe they're going to try to bring you back, right, Danny?
Yeah, I just recently switched from Sam's Club to Costco. I had been with Sam's Club for like the last year, maybe year and a half, and my membership finally expired, so we decided to go to Costco because they had a Groupon that we took advantage of since we had not been with Costco for a while. So we ended up buying it, and we went a couple days ago to go check it out, go inside and do a little browsing and kind of take a look at everything that's out there. And I miss it, man. It's a store that, man, it has everything you could imagine. At least the Costco over here by us, it's very well kept. It's a lot neater. To me, it seems like they invest a lot into that Costco, and they make sure to keep up with everything, so everything looks very clean and organized. And where the Costco, to me, it looks like, man, we're trying to squeeze every penny out of this thing, kind of deal, and they don't really invest back into their club. So sometimes when you go, things are kind of broken down. Some things are, you could just kind of tell that it's kind of like the Michigan dunes versus the Indiana dunes as far as the bathrooms and stuff. And Sam's Club gets the job done. It's got tons of nice stuff and tons of pluses and minuses as far as things that I like. But I've always cared for Costco more than Sam's, at least so far I do.
Real quick, Danny, let me go back. You said the Costco is not as well kept as the Sam's Club, or the other way around?
The other way around. I think Costco, when you walk in, the lights are bright, man. Everything appears to be clean. Things are very well organized, and even just the amount of people that are there, there's more traffic, so there's more people. So it kind of gives the feel like, yeah, this thing is happening. This is a club that's rocking. People are dancing, and it's the place to be. And when you go to Sam's Club, you kind of see a couple people straggling here and there, and then you kind of see people just walking around, the workers, and they don't got that fake smile for me to kind of make me feel welcome. So it just makes you feel like, damn, this isn't the place to be, man. This isn't the club I want to be at.
Now that you mentioned it, I am a member of both clubs because I don't like to discriminate when it comes to $1.50 hot dogs. But you are correct. The Costco is super fucking bright compared to the Sam's Club now that I'm thinking about it. And, yeah, that's a great fucking point, dude. I wonder why they do that.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. Sam's Club is really darker, like noticeably darker. It's like the ambiance they're trying to go for is, I don't know, some kind of like laid back, relaxed atmosphere. I don't know.
Sometimes casinos do that too. They'll have like boring carpeting, or they'll have really bright lights, and everything is to trigger a reaction from the people, and it's to make them feel a certain way. So maybe Costco does the same thing. Maybe they researched it and said, hey, if we keep our lights this bright, if we paint our walls this color, and if we provide this type of display system, it's more appealing to people. Not that Sam's is terrible. I really dug Sam's. They had a lot of cool stuff that I liked. I especially liked the generic stuff that they offered. The generic.
Their brand.
I forget what the is now, but what
Sam's Club is.
Yeah, their Sam's Club brand. Yeah, Maker's Mark. To me, it seemed like they offered more stuff in that brand than Costco does with their Kirkland brand. Because Costco has the Kirkland brand. That's their generic equivalent. And it seemed like Sam offered more stuff with that generic brand than Costco does. And I also liked Sam's Club's like the junk food, man. All their chips and the pretzels and all the other goofy stuff. It to me, when you go down those aisles, you're everywhere. Everything you'd pass in Sam's, you'd be like, yeah, I want to buy this. I want to buy this. And where Costco, I don't know if they're more in the healthy side, because I see a lot of healthy, this brand, that, and it's like, it's still appealing, but it's not as much as like the greasy cheeseburger feel, where you're like, damn, this is going to be good.
It's a higher clientele, Danny. Welcome to the club. Yeah, I feel the opposite. I feel like Sam's Club has more name brands, and Costco has more of their Kirkland brand. But I do know that when I see they're on their medicine side, I think the Sam's Club has more of their name brand shit.
You're saying like the vitamins and the beauty stuff and all that, shampoo.
Yeah, they have Members Mark, like they got that shit on lockdown. They have a shitload of that stuff.
I never noticed that too much. I noticed like they have just a lot of food items, but not so much on the like vitamins and all that.
Yeah, I even went looking for the condoms, but they didn't have that. They just had Durex. I'm like, man, I don't need to use this garbage, so I never use condoms again.
Trojan or die.
Yeah, even if it's up to Junior, he seemed to like Sam's Club's pizza a lot better than Costco. Even though to me they both taste the same, but he did like Sam's Club when we finally left Sam's for the very last time. I did see a tear cross his eye when he was just like, man, no more Sam's Club pizza, now it's Costco pizza. So he really dug Sam's more.
Yeah, that's bound to happen, man. It's bound to happen. At least you have alternatives, though.
Yeah, and I think he's okay with the Costco, because when he was eating it, he didn't look pissed off. He ate the whole thing. So either he was really hungry or it wasn't as bad as he claimed it was.
Was he like muttering stuff under his mouth like, this pizza's thick, and he's eating it?
Nah, he wasn't like me with that Pequod story where I was eating whatever I forgot I was eating. I was all pissed off. I was just like, mother, I was just eating it, all pissed off.
What happened with that? Tell us the story, because I think I saw something on Facebook, but I didn't hear the full story.
Oh, I thought I mentioned it on the podcasts where we went to Pequod's, and just a quick version, and we ordered our food, waited like an hour to get our pizza, and then waited another like half an hour and still did not get Junior's food. So that whole time our food is getting cold. So we just decided to get up and leave, and ended up going to McDonald's to go eat.
Damn.
So
you guys
kind of
sucked anything?
Nah. After that, we had eaten appetizers because we ordered like some poppers and some onion rings. So we had eaten that. So I was like half full, And to be honest, I wasn't really going to eat much of the pizza that we ordered, but still didn't get to eat that beautiful, delicious Pequod's pizza that we left there.
Caramelized crust.
Yeah.
You guys are definitely these.
Yeah, you get spoiled sometimes, but I like Costco's pizza, man. I think it's pretty good. The other good thing about Costco is that you could order half and half of the pizzas. So for Junior, he likes cheese. For me and Alana, we like a couple more ingredients on there. And Costco offers you to be able to get half and half, so we can get like half Supreme, half cheese. And where Sam's didn't offer that you either get a whole cheese or a whole Supreme or a whole whatever flavor you want, but you can't split the pizzas. So that's another big plus.
Costco's know what's good for you, man. They want to give you too many damn choices.
Yeah, the only thing that I'm gonna miss from Sam's as far as the food court is the cheeseburger. They just recently put the cheeseburger on the menu, maybe about half a year ago, and I was starting to really dig it, man. It's a really good cheeseburger. It's got a lot of good flavor. That burger, you could tell it's like real meat. It's not that orange box meat that Andy bought once at a barbecue that he had. It's like real Angus or real beef.
That's real processed meat there, man. I remember y'all fucking eating it.
Yeah, well, when you're hungry, you almost eat anything, Andy, for sure.
When you're drunk and hungry, you eat what's in front of you.
Hell yeah. But another good plus Costco is that they offer chili now, man. I don't know if you've tasted it, Andy, or you've checked it out.
Yeah, I checked it out. It's pretty good.
Yeah, man, that chili's pretty good. I don't know what they put in there, man, but, man, that's some good stuff. Even better than Wendy's chili. And I heard Wendy's chili is just all the fregadura, all the stuff they left over from all the hamburgers.
Allegedly, I heard that they scrape off the grill and then they throw all that shit in the chili pot.
Yeah, I did hear that.
That is nasty.
Allegedly. All right, Wendy's don't get mad at us. Allegedly. I can't confirm nor deny.
Damn.
But sometimes that's
chili, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I've had that chili, and I'm just like, I don't know what it's about this fucking chili, but it's good.
Yeah, for sure. I bought it a couple weeks ago while I was watching the Bears game, and man, it was a great accompaniment. I just had to put some hot sauce in it, and man, it just hit the spot for sure. But something else that's hot, man, is that PS4 Pro, man. I finally had to go pick one up to complete my entertainment center and push aside that regular generic PS4 and put on that shiny PS4 Pro up there so I could get all that goodness that PS4 has to offer. So yeah, I picked it up a few weeks ago. What kind of led me to buying it was that I have a 4K TV, and I haven't really been able to use it to its max, just because there's really not a lot of 4K stuff that I can do. Amazon Prime has a few things that are in 4K. They got like the James Bond movie and a few other things, so those look pretty sweet. But all my gaming was all that regular generic 1080p, and I was just like, yeah, this is good, man. It's satisfying. But I got a 4K TV. I wish I could see it in 4K. So I finally broke down, saved up some money here and there, this little bit of pocket change I had here, a little bit of pocket change there, and I finally picked it up. So I'm super happy, man. You pop it in and you just see that extra fidelity, and man, it's really nice and it's really sweet to see these games running at 4K.
Did your wife say, I don't see the difference?
Yeah. Dude, sometimes I download like 720p stuff, and I very rarely download 720p. I mean, it's got to be 1080 at least. But sometimes you can't find shit in 1080p, so you'll download 720. Case in point, the Mayans, that new Sons of Anarchy spinoff.
Right.
I couldn't find the 1080p version of the first episode, so I had to download the 720. And while I'm watching it, dude, I'm just like, man, this sucks, man. This sucks. This resolution sucks. Man, but my wife, she was like, oh man, this looked good, and I'm like, what? It looked good. I'm like, look at this. you can't even see the motorcycles that clearly. I'm like, everything is blending into the background. I'm like, this really sucks.
You're like, I can't see the titties on that guy's nipples, on the tattoos and shit.
Uh-huh.
Now, to me, it always looked like, if you compare like VCR or VHS to DVD, it's fine.
You're breaking up there, Noel.
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit, but I understand what you were trying to say is that 720 is like VHS quality, and when you get 1080p, it's like that DVD quality.
Man, you're rough, Danny. Shit.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's man. It sucks. It definitely.
Legally, it's HD.
Well, it's not always truly. If you look at the resolution, sometimes it'll be close to, but not exactly. So it'll be maybe like 1280 by 720, which is not full 1920 by 720. Or 1980, is it? 1920 by 720, yeah.
Real quick, I have Comcast, and one day I was just fucking around with the settings on the box, and they fucking set the
default?
The default is, they had it at 720. And I'm like, man, no wonder this looks shitty. I thought it was just because it's Comcast. Then I searched the settings, and then it gives you like a little warning, like, oh, this is going to 1080p. Are you sure you want to do this? Because you might affect some other thing on the box. I'm like, what the fuck? And I switched it back, and I saw a little bit of a difference, but I was just like, I don't know what the fuck all that was about.
Yeah, the 4K resolution, it's actually 2160p. That's the range of resolution that it offers. So, yeah, most games that you play with the PS4 Pro, it gives you the option to toggle between resolution, or do you want... Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry. Most games allow you to choose between resolution, so if you want the extra resolution, or if you want the extra performance. So with the extra performance, you get mostly like 60 frames per second, and where the extra resolution, you get that 4K image. And to me, most of the games I play, I want it to look sharper rather than to place, just because I'm not really playing like first-person shooters where I need that extra millisecond to be able to get an advantage on the player that I'm playing against. So yeah, man, it's pretty sweet.
What resolution are you using when you play the NES Classic, man?
I think it's 1080p, the NES Classic, to be honest, but I'm not really sure. I know it says, so it's at least 720, but I think it outputs at 1080p, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's 1080p.
You see the sharpness in every, like, 5 polygons on the screen?
Yeah. Well, that's more of a nostalgia trip when you see those 8-bit graphics and it just looks super clear. It definitely looks a lot nicer than I recall when I was a little kid. So it's not that bad to play some of those older games.
So, like, real quick, the Spider-Man game, was that a 4K game?
Yeah, most of the newer games, I would say like within the last year, maybe 2 years, they've come out with patches to make them 4K accessible. If not, they're just natively 4K when they come out. So like that Spider-Man, when it first came out, it was natively 4K. But some of the older games like The Last of Us, Witcher 3, they came out with like a 4K patches that were able to up-res them and boost up the graphics to come out 4K. So yeah, man.
But real quick, do you see the difference? Because if those games were designed for 4K in mind, you know?
Yeah, to me, in my eyes, I mean, I've only, since I got the 4K, I've been playing Spider-Man, so I haven't really played any other games, but I did try God of War, and you could kind of notice that the little bit of differences between the regular God of War and the 4K version of God of War, and it does look a lot sharper. And there's some like side-by-side comparisons that they have on YouTube, and you could see that there's a little bit of difference. Some of the backdraw distance is a lot better. So, if I had a grade the PS4, it's definitely a B plus and A. But for people that don't have a 4K TV, maybe hold off and wait for the next gen systems to come out. But for sure, a B plus for all of you out there. But a grade that these kids are getting, jumping into our article for this week, some of these kids, if it's up to the teacher, they'd be getting Fs. But the teacher actually got fired, and it's a teacher from Florida. There was some kids that weren't handing in their homework, so she graded them 0 and F. But I guess the school has a policy that if you get anything less than a 50, then you're automatically like bumped up to a 50. It's like there's no 0 policy, that there's no way a student can get a 0 in the school, that you have to get at the very least a 50. So it's very weird. I'm not sure if you guys had a chance to look at the article, but I don't know what to think, man. I'm like, these schools nowadays and these new policies, leave no kid behind, stuff like that. It's like, is this really what is best for us, for our future?
Most definitely not, man. Most definitely not. Like, I read the article, and it turns out, like, even if you don't turn it in to the school, like, let's say you have a homework assignment and you just decide to blow it off because you're going to fucking play Fortnite or something and then just go to sleep real late, the next day you don't turn anything in, you still get a 50. So it's like other people that did turn it in but just, kind of sucked at it, maybe, they get a 50 too. It's like, where's the incentive to even do anything if you're going to get a 50 just by coasting by? I feel like the school system is just extremely flawed right now, and like a lot of kids are going to start getting like massive repercussions later on in life, because I believe this was like an 8th grade teacher, I believe. Yeah. Deanna Tirado, an 8th grade history teacher at Westgate K-8 school, gave them a 0 for a grade, but then she was let go.
It's not even like it's like grade school, it's middle school, so that's why that's when you should be like pushing them a little bit more, like, you got to get this shit done. So I was kind of shocked to read. It's not even like 4th grade. I'm like, 4th grade, right? Or 5th grade. But no, this is like 8th grade. Like, your next year is high school.
I think a lot of it too, it has to do with money, and the more kids you pass, the more money you're going to get from funding and just stuff like that. So if you fail a lot of kids and your school is known for like not having a lot of passing kids, you're going to not get as much money as the schools that are obviously doing better with their classes and their students. So I think that has something to do with it. But man, it's a corrupt business out there, man. I don't know if you know how that stuff works, but even if you don't have kids and you live in an area that's maybe a little higher class or something like that, you're going to have high property taxes paying for these high-class schools that are passing kids that didn't even complete their homework or didn't even truly merit the grade they're getting.
Yeah, I kind of looked a little bit into how many schools do something like this, or how many schools have a policy similar to this, and I couldn't really find a solid statistic. The only thing that kept popping up was George Bush's comments that he kept doing during his term, where no kid left behind, that we're going to make sure every kid passes their grade and that no kid is left behind in their grade. And yeah, man, I want the schools to be inclusive and be able to help everybody along, but not at the cost of pushing kids forward in grades that don't understand the basic stuff that was taught before them. If they don't have the basic building blocks at the ground floor, when they get up to the top floors, they're just not going to be able to understand. So pushing them through and just letting them get through the system, I don't think it's the right thing to do, man, for sure.
Well, that's the thing today. Nobody, like, some of you might know, my wife's a teacher, and when we first started dating, I was like telling her, like, you hear how you read stuff, how hard it is, but basically no one fails school anymore. I mean, when I was growing up, I remember kids being failed right and left. They didn't pass grades. They don't do that no more. And I was kind of shocked to hear about that. So they push them through on the ground. It's like, well, when they get to the next grade, they're gonna get the help they need and the more attention. But sometimes I feel like that attention never comes. And then, reading the article, she says, they told her that they don't give zeros in that school, but the school has policy is that allegedly, they don't have that policy. So, but she's saying someone told her. I don't know if I reading the article, I never really saw who told her, because I think the principal just, they let her go. But I don't know, man. Today it's just with kids in the schools, like you said, Danny. Everybody's got to be inclusive, but again, not all kids are gonna be lawyers and doctors and teachers, president of the United States. Some of them are just gonna be working at Burger King or McDonald's or ditch diggers. I'm not knocking the job, but not everybody is gonna be the smarts that you want them to be.
I think you're right, but that's not always the school's fault. A lot of that comes from home. Like, if you're not getting the proper motivation at home, it's going to be hard. They're going to be putting a lot of pressure on the teachers to give them that motivation, which they might not always be able to do. Especially when you're talking about like inner city schools and stuff like that. A lot of people, they get coerced into following a different path. I don't want to say like sometimes, I don't want to put it all on that, but there's a lot of variables, is what I'm saying. There's not always just the school, but definitely does play a big part in it.
I have this argument with my wife all the time, because all three of us have the same. I don't want to say upbringing, but we have a lot of things that are common. The first one is we're children of immigrants. And second of all, they did place a lot of value on education. Go to school, don't be a dummy. I was always told, you do two things: you work or go to school. You growing up. But it's not like the books, the learning. My dad never sat down with me and read to me. My dad never showed me how to do a math problem. He just knew it was important. But he would yell at me to do my homework, but he couldn't do, when I was in 4th grade, some of the shit that I did, and my wife said, like, well, there you go. See, it's culturally, it's not pushed on you that you have to do. It's just you told you do it, but they don't follow through, like, come at you and say, no, well, let's do this together, when she says it starts at home. To me, I think a kid's smart, and if they are smart, that they're gonna naturally want to do more. And you have to push certain people, but we have this argument. I think a kid naturally who wants to learn they might be smart, but they're gonna want to do it on their own, or they're gonna reach out to people to do it if the parents can't help them.
I hear what you're saying, Andy, but I agree with your wife, man. It does start at home. Even if the kid is not intellectually blessed, and it is a little more challenging for him, that's how life is going to be, man. You're going to run across things that are challenging, and what it takes is hard work to overcome those challenges and become disciplined, to become better. Or maybe not be a math major, but at least comprehend it and have some type of understanding of it. Maybe not be, have lectures and be able to speak eloquently, but be passable. Be able to write an email, Andy. Be able to put together a paragraph. Stuff like that. It is.
That qualifies you for certain jobs.
I'm sure it does, but it does start at home, man. I'm not saying I'm the perfect dad, but I do try to be engaged with my son's homework. When his papers come home, I know Alana looks at them for sure, and if she sees something glaring, she puts them out to me. Like, hey, Junior got a 60 on this comprehension worksheet, and we sit down with Junior, we talk to him, we communicate to the teacher, hey, is there something else Junior's not doing? Was he just goofing around? And we try to get to the bottom of it. We try to be engaged with the school and be a part of the learning process instead of just us doing our 9 to 5, working and feeling like that's enough, that I got to give my son just a roof over their head and they got to do everything else on their own. The parents need to play a part in that as well.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. Like growing up for me, it was a different time period too. I think that's another thing, is that with the times changing, technology is more in the hands of these kids. For sure, they should be able to learn better than we were with their fucking Dewey Decimal System and shit like that. But back in the day, I remember if I wanted to go outside and play with my friends, I had to do my homework first. If I wanted to watch TV or play some Super Mario, I had to do my homework first. And if I didn't do that, I was going to get a scolding, or possibly worse. You know how it is with these families sometimes.
Did you? That's why I said I bring up from my experience. Like I would ask my dad for help, and 9 out of 10 times he couldn't fucking do it, and he would just like, well, ask your teacher. Like, well, Dad, I gotta answer something. I gotta turn in something tomorrow. Well, why? She can't get mad at you. Like, well, I gotta know what I gotta do what I'm doing. Like, did you ever go to your dad? Dad, help me with this fucking division problem. Why do I have a remainder? And he look at you like, I don't know.
No, yeah. I'd never been able to ask my dad anything like that. Any kind of issues we had with our homework, I would just note it down there and ask the teacher the next day. That's really all you could do. Whatever options were available.
I got a 0.
But you learned, right? Like you learned, right? Well,
yeah. That's what I'm saying. It forced me to adapt to what I had in front of me. So sometimes I did have to put the extra effort, or sometimes I'd be like, fuck it, I'm gonna just write whatever, and then I would get a talking to from the teacher, like, why'd you do this? And I'd just be like, I really don't know how to do this. Why can't you ask your parents? Because they don't fucking know. Like, I'd be like, they don't.
Yeah, it's not your parents' job to teach you. It's the teacher's job to teach you, and it's her job to make, or his, whoever they are, job to make sure you understand it. If you don't, then you stay after school, or you do whatever. You get a buddy to help you out and do a little buddy system. There's options, but obviously, it sucks when your parents can't help you on something that you feel like you need help with.
Yeah, I mean, Junior's right now, the stuff that he's doing, it's getting to my general basic knowledge, the stuff that I can recall like really quickly, but it's starting to get a little bit above me where I gotta like Google it and be like, oh yeah, that's right, that's how you do that, because it's like I can't remember, like making a common denominator for adding fractions. I know that's what you need. I know that's what you needed to do, but I couldn't remember how to do it. So I had to Google it, and then as soon as I saw like a tutorial, I was just like, yes, that's right. That's how you do it. So then I was able to explain it to Junior because he was having some problems. So, it's a different era, like Noel mentioned. Our parents were immigrants. They didn't know any better. Most of them didn't finish their grade school. So, it was very difficult for them to be able to give us the help that we needed. So I think we're a lot more fortunate, or at least this new generation, to have tools that are readily available where you don't have to go to the library and look at a Dewey Decimal System and try to figure out a book that will show you how to do something when the homework is due the next day, for sure.
Again, that's why I go back to culture, like I was the first one to graduate high school. I was the first one to go to college. My wife was, she's the first one, to go to college and actually finish. She's the only one in her family that has a bachelor's, and she's children of immigrants. And to me, that's kind of important for when we have kids, because I read statistics. If you're in your family, if one of the two, the mother or the father, have a bachelor, that increases the percentages of your kid getting some type of degree. Because now, and to me, I don't want to say it's like important, but do I want my kid, I want them to go to college.
Well, education is something you take with you anywhere you go. So it's definitely good. Well, I believe, if anything, what our parents have given us is a work ethic.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that, we gotta get out of here, guys. And we want to thank you all for listening. Remember to follow Freeform Network on Freeform and let me repeat that. So go on Freeform Network. You can check us out on Facebook and Twitter under Freeform Network. You can send their questions and suggestions, and if you want to let us know what degrees you have, let us know at ffnquestions@gmail.com. But let the record be known, I don't give a fuck. Because I got my PhD from the streets and pimpin' hoes degree. And don't forget to check out our webpage, freeformnetwork.podbean.com. There you see all the links that we have to all the multi-platform that we're on. They haven't kicked us out yet. I'm waiting for that day to kick us out for our crazy views, especially yours, Noel. So we want you to subscribe and hit that like button on all those platforms. And for Freeform Radio, we got
yes, sir. Thank you for tuning in.
We got Superstar Noel. I guess he's not a superstar no more. He didn't reply. So this is Andy. I'm gonna say goodbye for Noel. He's maybe working on getting another degree. I'm gonna go read a book and try to learn something, and we'll check you out next time, guys.
That was cool, Dad.